When it's time to party, we will party hard.
All right, good morning, guys. We're here in the shop here working on a 1964 Pontiac Grand Prix. You can see here we've got a lot of the interior done. A lot of the interior is all prepped, ready to go. You can see the doors are off. We got some old doors here we're trying to fix, and we're gonna get along doing that, and I'll show you some tricks that I've learned. I think it's important to know that I'm an electrician by trade, so this is kind of a tinkering job for me. Do it kind of on the fly, and we'll see how that goes. So what we're going to try and fix here is we're going to try and fix this small spot right here. I think you can see it here. This is the lip. When the door is made, it gets hemmed over. Water drips down through here and sits just inside here. Now if you're working on a car like me, they don't make doors. This isn't a 65 Nova or a 66 Mustang or a 72 Chevelle. This is kind of an oddball car. So we've got to make everything we need for this car. So I've got my best out of 4 doors, so I'm working on it. So what you'll see here is we're going to try and fit this patch right in here. So now maybe what I'll do here is I'll zoom in a little bit for you there. Now you can see by this here, we're going to try and fit this in here so that it looks like the lip was never modified. An important note is this is gonna, when we go to weld this is gonna burn. There's gonna be a couple of spots here that are gonna burn right through. So I think what we'll do is we'll get started and we'll see how it goes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece of copper bar. Copper tends to evacuate the heat from the metal pretty well. It'll prevent us from burning through. It'll prevent us from burning through the door. So my patch, you can see this red line kind of down at the bottom there. I set this in here and copied the contour of my cut, because my cut isn't perfectly straight. I copied the contour of my cut so that I can take a grinder and take that down to that red line. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep working that until that fits right in. I think it's important to note that you can always cut your patches larger than you need them. Because what we're going to do is we're going to take a small die grinder like this. Okay, we're going to take that. We're going to put this in a pair of pliers or on a vise, and we're going to take that line down with the grinder, and then we're going to fit that in and see if that works for us. We're going to go ahead and do that, and we'll come back. can see here, I'm just working this ever so slightly. Ever so slightly. Doesn't matter how much bigger your patch is. The closer you get it to the hole you're trying to fill, the less sanding you're going to have to do. Now, since this is such a small piece, it's going to take a little bit of grinding down to do. We're going to work that down. You can see we're getting down close to a 1/4 inch thick here. As you can see here, we're getting real close on this patch. You can see how close they are. Now, like I said at the beginning, guys, it's my first video, so might be a little bit of talking. Just leave some comments down below. Let me know maybe what I missed, what you kind of wanted to hear about, and we've got a whole other door to do, so we can clean it up for the next video. As you can see here, we're getting real close to making that fit. Now, as you can see, we're getting pretty close to getting this fitted in here. It's going to take a little bit more work, and then we'll turn the welder on. So we're going to fine tune this just a little wee bit. And we'll see how she goes. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take some of this rust encapsulator. We're going to wipe it down in here on this old rusted section of this door. Get it all in there. What we're doing here, we're going to clean this out. We're trying to get some of this in here because part of this door we can't really fix. So we're going to try and get some of this down there. Now it's important to note that when we go to weld this, the weld is not going to stick to the encapsulator. So I recommend cleaning it off while it's still wet. And then what we can do is just before we go to put the patch in, we'll take a wire wheel such as this, and we'll clean that corner out so that we've got something to weld to. Now, it's also important, this can't be done all in one shot. You can't start here with the weld and finish here. So what we're going to do is we're going to clamp our piece in. We're going to put a weld here. We'll put another weld here. We'll put another weld here and another weld here. Hopefully the copper bar takes some of the heat away and we can kind of progress along and with all the tacks we put in, we basically want to tack it until we've got a complete seam here. And then what we'll do is we'll get our die grinder back out, and we'll clean this down. We'll check to make sure we don't have any holes, and then we'll keep going. So that's going to take a couple minutes to dry. So we're going to let that tack up. So you see here, this piece of metal comes with a coating on it from the steel supplier. So what we want to do is we want to take our die grinder and we want to clean that off. So you can use your die grinder, clean off both sides. Most of my patches, I will put rust coat on the back side. This piece is going to be too small, I think, to do that. So once we start welding it, it's just going to burn that stuff right off. So we're going to leave that. When we finish the door, when we finish this lip, when we clean up this whole door, before we, after we seal it with primer sealer, we're going to go by and we're going to seam seal along this hemmed edge here. And that'll keep the water from getting in to our new patch. So from the factory, this door was only designed to last as long as you wanted until you replace the car. This wasn't meant to last forever. So what we're going to do is, before we put the door on the car, we're going to seam seal the inside of this lip down here. And now you'll see over here, down where my finger is here, there's a drain hole. So we're going to leave that part open so that any water that gets in the door from rain or washing the car, it'll drain out these drain holes that are located on both sides of the door. We've got our welder already grounded. We're going to just wait for this to tack up, and then we'll get our wire brush, we'll clean that away, and then we'll clamp this in and see how we make out putting a couple welds on it. Like I mentioned earlier, it's important to always cut your patch a little bit bigger, and then you can work it, because this patch is kind of irregularly shaped because I used a Dremel to cut the rusted piece out of this section. So when we go to put this in, it's contoured the same way as my not so straight cut. So once we weld that in there, that patch is going to be in there. We'll grind it smooth until we can't see any lines, so it looks like it was supposed to be there. So we'll get started on that here in a couple minutes. So the inner door, this section here, the outer section is hemmed over this section. So the front section comes bigger than the door, and then a large press comes in and squeezes the two together and hems this over. Then a guy with a spot welder back in 1965 come in and physically put these little tabs in here. He spot welded them to the bottom of the inner door. We had to lose one here, but we're going to make it up when we put that weld in. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to try and fit this piece in here. See, we've got just a little bit more to take out of one spot here. I'm going to use a C-clamp style vice grip to hold this into place like this. Now, we don't want too much pressure on it. All we want is we want it to be snug so that the clamp doesn't fall off. So we'll put that in there like that. Now you'll see how close I've got to the edge here. We'll bring it in just like that. So we're right in here. That's gonna be our first weld. Now, it's important also to note, I know I say that a lot, when we go to tack this in, there's a possibility that because the piece is so small, the welder is going to want to try and blow through that. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and get that at least to tack in there. We've got our copper bar in place so that the heat is transferred through the door into the copper bar. So let's go ahead and give this a shot. I don't have a pair of MIG welding pliers, so because I'm an electrician, I've got these fancy linesman's pliers. You'll have to excuse the mess. My dad brought his old car over, so we're kind of constrained for space because it's winter here in Ontario. So that seemed to work out pretty well. We're going to try and get this patch to fit in here as snugly as possible. What we'll do here is I've got my C-clamp. I'm going to clamp this down. At the same time, I'm going to grab my screwdriver and I'm going to drive it in. I'm going to drive it into that door the best I can. So, we've got a nice flat face we can work with here. Good afternoon, folks. It's Adam again. We're just coming back to the 64 Grand Prix door here, and we'll have a quick look here at how we made out after putting that patch in. So you can see there, it looks pretty even. So what I got going on over here, you'll see this patch right here. I patched this in here because this was all rotted out. So if you can see there, this is what she looks like now. You can see I took a die grinder with a carbide tip on it and I rounded that all over, all the way down there. So what we got here, we've cleaned all this up. We're going to seam seal all around in here. I've got a couple more spots left here on the back side. We'll clean up this here, and believe that's it. Got a couple of spots to clean up here. Nothing too serious. Little grinding in here. Other than that, you can see down on this side, we've got this lip here. There's a piece of chrome that fits over top of this, but you can see the chrome has kind of lets the water in there and kind of rusts that out just a wee bit. So we're going to clean that up with the wire wheel. So any of this stuff here that you see here, we're going to clean all that up with a wire wheel. And then we'll get to priming it. And then after we're done priming it, we'll go ahead and we'll put some body fill in her. Alright, thanks for watching.